Through the mid-'70s, Arlington had a locally owned newspaper that a lot of you remember, the Arlington Citizen-Journal. After that, that's right, it was great. After that, for a period of time, we still had daily and even weekly coverage, which provided us local news, events, and sports coverage. And they really provided us, and I think you'd agree with this, a sense of community. I know many of you here tonight eagerly remember getting the paper to read about local teams and community events. Well, regrettably, those days are kind of behind us now. We read out-of-town papers, usually online, and with not much attention to local human interest stories. In short, we've kind of lost some of that collective memory, at least as it relates to athletics, over the last few years. So in 2016, some of us got together to see if we could figure out how to honor our sports and civic heroes, past and present, in order to preserve that collective memory and sense of community. There was not much of a blueprint for this, as none of the other major cities here in Texas had a Hall of Honor, Hall of Fame that was really strictly related to high school level. Well, we must have struck a nerve as nearly 500 people turned out for our first dinner in 2017 to see what the Arlington Athletics Hall of Honor Foundation was all about. Tonight, you are going to hear and see the stories of these local heroes. Among those in attendance tonight are Olympic medal winners and former players like you, Adam Hill, that have traveled across the country to honor their coach. Folks, that really is what tonight is about, is honoring and remembering. So sit back and watch, listen, and maybe even well up a few times as we honor them and their unique accomplishments. Also, be sure on your way out to stop by our past and present glass cases in the lobby where we are presenting and preserving special items from our great communities past. A very special thank you to the AISD leadership who shared our vision and generously provided the casing, the lighting, and their lobby for our endeavors. Thank you. Carl, come on up and take charge.
Thank you. I'm Carl Cravens. I've been involved with the group for the past 7 years, and this is our 7th event. It's hard to believe it's gone by that quickly, but it's also hard to believe that it was 30 plus years ago when I was playing football and saw a bunch of my crosstown rivals here tonight. Ryan Lyons, Pat Fields, Kevin Cartwright, and those guys here to celebrate their coaches. So it's just fun to come back and be part of something that's special in Arlington, to see guys like that. What I'm going to do here is just say some thank yous and recognize some of our elected officials that are here tonight that took time out on the last day of school to be with us tonight. We very much appreciate that. As well, it's pretty tight, so you may have some recipients of awards that are trying to get to the stage. Just be mindful as they try to weave their way through, let them through. First of all, I want to recognize Jim Ross, who's here with us. And Jim, if you want to start working your way up, he's going to be up here shortly when I get off the stage. Go ahead. Thank you, Jim, for being here tonight. Also, I'd like to say thank you and of gratitude and thanks to the school board and leadership in Marcelo Cavazos, who's been 25 years nearly with our district as a leader and a supporter. And really, when we asked early on, is there a place we could make home? He quickly, come on up, Jim. He quickly said, yeah, I'll get you a home. And this has been our home ever since, and we really appreciate it. Couldn't have a better place, so thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to also recognize Dr. Michael here, who's here tonight. Michael Hill is the assistant superintendent. Michael, thank you for being here. Eric White, our athletic director, and our school board members. I've seen many of them, but I want to say thank you as well to President Melody Fowler, Justin Chapa, Sarah McMurrah, Dr. Aaron Reich, David Wilbanks, and our new members, Brooklyn Richardson and Leanne Haynes. Thank you all for being here. Also want to say thanks to our city council, Helen Moyes, Raul Gonzalez, Nikki Hunter, Andrew Peel, Rebecca Boxall, Long Pham Bowie Hogg, and Dr. Barbara Odom Wesley. Thank you all for coming as well. Appreciate that. And also, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't have this night. They're in your program as well, but I do want to recognize a few. Just first rate, Dave and Trina Stone. I think I saw their son here. Thank you all so much for all you do for the community. You've done it for generations, and we really appreciate it. Our All-American Awards sponsors, Spring Creek Barbecue, Chris Carroll, thank you for being here. James, why don't y'all raise your hand, guys. Give them a round. They did all the food tonight for us, Spring Creek Barbecue. Thank y'all so much. Very much appreciated. 3DI Sign and Design, Paul Folks. I don't know how many hours he puts in, but thank you, Paul. Our All-State, Unique Environments, Kenneth and Karen Vaughn. Kenneth's on the board. Thank you, guys. Wade Funeral Homes right here in front of me. Thank y'all so much for everything you do. Mike and Amy Wade. B2M Enterprises with Dennis Brown. Air Ad Promotions with Barney Buckholt, thank you so much. Our all-region sponsors, Auto Liquidators, Greg and Jeannie Ryan, Jim and Peggy Pointer, thank you all. Where Jim left out, that's Mayor Ross behind me, sorry, I thought Jim was still over my back. Yeah. There you go. Mark Caffey, thank you, I saw him in here. Coach Kenny Perry and Texas Tech, thank you all. Peach Elementary, Susser Bank, Otis and Rosie Brown Foundation, and our team captains for the night, Wheeler Company, Rodney and Kim Wheeler, thank y'all. Bobby Griffin, in memory of Coach Jerry Griffin, Alan and Susie Roberts, and the Peach family. Also, thank you for the pizza, for the supporters here tonight, for the volunteers from CC's Pizza, Chris Robinette. That's a lot of thank yous, but they go above and beyond, so we really give them all a big round of applause. Thank you. John Nelson, if you make your way to the stage as well. John's going to take it from here, and if his name sounds familiar, it's because he's probably done over 1,000 sporting events on local television for our athletes in town, as well as professional level for the Major League Baseball. He's an Arlington guy through and through, having attended Cookins, South Davis, Arlington High, and UTA. His sports roots go deep in our community, with his grandfather and father starting the Arlington Little League in town. So a little fact you didn't know about John. Thank you for all you do. I'm going to hand it over to you guys, and let's have a good night. Thank y'all.
Thanks very much, Carl, and again, welcome everyone to this special night to honor some outstanding individuals, both past and present. We're going to begin why we are here, and the man that brought Major League Baseball to the city in 1972 and did so many other things behind the scenes that a lot of people are still talking about. Parker, let's watch your grandfather's video.
When both Arlington and I were very young, it was determined by a majority of our citizens that we would be a city of the first rank.
Tom Vandergriff, without question in my mind, was the greatest man I ever met. He was the shortstop between Dallas and Fort Worth. He was the guy that brought it together.
Generally, we were at war with each other. But here, Dallas, Fort Worth, everybody agreed on baseball, Major League Baseball.
This story of a man who wouldn't give up, who simply would not take no for an answer, even though it took decades to get it done, he would not stop.
And if you hadn't had somebody like that, I don't know what they would have done. And he, more than anybody else before or since, has been able to do that.
His vision was so big. He saw things none of the rest of us could see.
What you remember about the Rangers are playoff appearances, World Series appearances, a new stadium, 3 million fans, but you really can't put it in perspective or have a true feeling for what it means unless you go back and remember who Tom Vandergriff was and where we started.
The first time I met Tom Vandergriff was probably when he was announcing, and he would come in the dugout and do a post-game interview. What got me was just his passion for baseball.
Arlington can do it!
One of the sad moments for me was him going to the last game at Turnpike Stadium, because I knew it had meant so much to him.
I'm dreading to drive away from the park. That's the hardest part of all.
I wanted the Ranger fans to know that but for him, it wouldn't have all happened.
Human nature tendency to forget we have one shot to make something be impactful, to influence people. The story has to be told.
Victor, his voice still resonates today as it ever was. If you'll turn your attention to the entranceway, we're going to unveil the Vernon Wells inductee portraits. A painter extraordinaire. The Heritage Award recognizes an Arlington AISD high school team whose accomplishments and performances stands the test of time and really sets the standard for other teams to reach. The girls from Bowie High were among the best to play that game. Tonight, we chronicle their road to glory.
And when I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal. When I feel like this, I'm immortal.
The 2004-05 Arlington Bowie girls basketball season was truly historic in many ways. Students, alums, and those who covered the sports scene at the time saw them battle through the toughest district in Texas, and at season's end were hoping they could capture the ultimate state prize come tournament time in Austin. This is their championship story.
The 04 team had a lot of great players. I felt like this team had a chance to be good. The 05 team had a chance to be good because we went to a tournament down in Houston. And I remember we played Spring Westfield. They went on to win the state championship in 04. And beginning of the game, they spanked us pretty good. But our kids realized, hey, we're not too bad. We can hang with them. And as the game progressed, we started gaining and we started making progress. And we didn't win the game, but we started to look like we belonged in the game. So after that game, I knew we had a chance to be very special in 05.
This is our year that we're gonna go in and we're gonna go in hard with no regrets, and we are going to win state. And lo and behold, we did it.
Bowie's magical season began November 11th at the Temple Tournament as they won 3 of 4 games played. Other non-district wins along the way included victories over South Oak Cliff, South Lake Carroll, and Temple High.
Honestly, I wasn't sure how far we would advance. I knew that if we could get through our district, at that time they were only taking 3 teams. So I knew that if we could place, in at least the top 3, that we would be okay.
The Vols entered District 8 5A play with an impressive 12-2 overall record. That district was a battle night in and night out, with DeSoto, Cedar Hill, and Duncanville in the mix. The regular season concluded on the night of February 8th with a 28-point win over Sam Houston. First place belonged to the squad from Southeast Arlington. 2 early postseason games had the Vols defeating Frisco and South Lake, setting up a regional quarterfinal against their area rival Lady Panthers of Duncanville. A 15-8 output in the fourth quarter gave Bowie a hard-fought 49-40 win, and it was on to the state semifinals and a meeting with North Crowley, whom the Lady Vols had defeated earlier in the season by 26 points. This one almost a carbon copy, 63-41 your final. The regional championship game was another area opponent that Bowie had played twice in district play, DeSoto. Ashley Walker had the hot hand that night, scoring 24 points, and the Lady Vols prevailed 64-46 to run their season record to 33-5. 2 games left to claim the state title in Austin.
I expected us to do well. If we could survive that district and come out as a district champion, I expected us to do well, and we knew that we would have to go through Duncanville and DeSoto again if we were going to make it to Austin. I remember the regional quarterfinal game. We played Duncanville at Seguin, and after we won that game, I was pretty emotional. The emotion was because I felt like we had a chance to make it to Austin and to win it all, and we took care of business there, so it was pretty rewarding to go through our district opponents in order to get to Austin.
First up, the Lady Panthers of Pflugerville. A suffocating defense forced 30 turnovers against their opponent, and offensively, it was no match, as 3 Lady Vols finished in double figures. 54-42 the final, as Bowie's record now stood at 34-5. The Humboldt Lady Wildcats and the Lady Vols met for the 5A state championship at the Irwin Center in Austin on the night of March 5th. Humboldt's record stood at 31-10 and were led by their standout Jessica Morrow, but Bowie had a prolific scorer themselves in Danielle Nunn. Both wore number 33. The lead swapped 6 times and the score matched 8. At one point, Coach Talton's team fell behind by 13 points.
So we knew we had to go in there playing the best basketball that we could, but like you said, we started off a little slow. I think that kind of gave us the kick we needed to kind of push through and fight through to the end.
I think we woke up. I think we might have been a little bit starstruck. You know, we had never been there before, so we really just had to rally around our defense. That's something that Coach T harped on all year, was that, hey, your defense is what got you here. Continue to stay in the game and play defense, and you guys will be okay.
But a torrid back-and-forth fourth quarter by both teams resulted in a 54-all tie at the end of regulation. Okay, tell me about the block.
So the block, that's probably why I think about it the most. And it was a few seconds left on the clock, their ball under their goal. We knew we had to play defense. We knew we had to stop them so that we had a fighting chance at winning state. And when that ball came in, I was terrified. I mean, when you're a blocker or just playing defense, blocking the ball is so all about timing. And if you don't get it right, you'll miss the block or you'll get a foul. So being able to block that ball, not get a foul, and then it was over with, and then from that point forward, it was like, all right, we got this. We know we got it.
In overtime, the Vols' Danielle Nunn scored the first basket and hit 4 key free throws in the final 2 minutes to help seal the victory.
We were able to make free throws going down the stretch, which had been our Achilles heel all season.
69-62, the final. Nunn finished with 23 points. Just as clutch was Erica Farrell. She tallied 17 and grabbed 13 rebounds. Jessica Morrow led all scorers with 24 points, but it was Bowie who cut down the nets. Danielle Nunn received the game's MVP, and later Coach Wanda Talton was selected the state's Coach of the Year. In her tenure at James Bowie High, Coach Wanda Talton amassed a jaw-dropping 374 wins.
Well, I think about our championship season anytime there's a girls' basketball game. So during the NCAA tournament, that's a time where I think about it the most because when the season's over, someone's crowned a champion and people get the opportunity to see all the hard work you've done, everything that you've accomplished and overcome. And to me, that's something special because all of those qualities I was able to see with that championship team.
Think about it all the time, honestly, because it's up there with all of my top accomplishments that I've done, you know, with my kids, getting married, state championship, you know, it's a big deal. So I think about it often. I think about it with my own kids. I have a 15-year-old and they just won state. So, I mean, it was just great to see him experience that and let him know, you know, hey, your mom did it too. But I want you to be better than me. Get another one. So
I think I'm most proud of how well this team bonded. They truly enjoyed each other's company. I appreciate how good they were to me. They knew my heart was heavy. I knew their heart was heavy, and they made sure that I was okay. My coaches, Kim Wilson, Doris Grooms, and Michelle Trussell were right there holding me up. So I had a lot of support, but that team, they truly were strong, outstanding young women. And to this day, they still are.
All right, Coach T, coaches, players, let's welcome to the stage the 2005 state champion Lady Vols of James Bowie High. Continuing with our program, everyday heroes do extraordinary things. Every day, a passion for making a difference. They can be educators, first responders, nurses, and just some grassroots examples of people who've dedicated their lives leaving their little patch of green grass better than they found it. Jade Laswell received many athletic honors at Sam Houston High in volleyball, basketball, and track. The students selected her Miss Sam Houston of 1993. She received a basketball scholarship at Tarleton State and later got her Master's of Education degree from Southwest Texas State. In 2004, Jade created a global nonprofit organization called Craft Hope that designs handmade items for charities which gather support worldwide. She also published a book of the same name. The organization has donated thousands of dollars worldwide, and 160,000 handmade items have been assembled with her family's help. A breast cancer diagnosis in 2016 has changed her life in many ways. 6 years ago, she wrote a winning essay outlining her cancer story. Jade is a proud mother of 4 and is married to Arlington High assistant football coach Dustin Laswell. Please welcome Jade Laswell.
Good evening. Thank you. It's good to see everybody, especially some of you I haven't seen in a long time, since like 7th and 8th grade. It is an honor to follow Coach T, as she was my junior high basketball coach and my high school basketball coach before she went over to Bowie. So it is a huge honor to follow her. AISD created me, and the community of AISD really gave me the grit and the fight to go through everything that I've been through. I can specifically credit Coach T, many hours on the court, running lines for making excuses and all that jazz. And I can tell you though that when life has gotten hard for me, I dig back to my days as an athlete in Arlington, and I dig back to my coaches who told me I can't make excuses and to continue to fight and continue to be excellent and push through whatever life gives you. Life has not always been easy, but it doesn't matter what I'm going through. I want to be excellent, and I want to make a difference. I've been an educator now for over 20 years. 10 of those years in Arlington, and I was thankful to be able, I've got students here actually in the back, and I was thankful to be able to give back to the community that created me. Like they said, 7 years ago I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer. 2 years ago it metastasized, so I've been fighting metastatic breast cancer for the past 2 years. But I fight, and the people here that know me know my story and know that I'm not going to give up, and I'm going to continue to fight. And I'm just so thankful for this community. I'm thankful to be honored and recognized tonight. I'm thankful to see all these old friends of mine, and I'm thankful for my family and my husband and all my friends that showed up. So that's about it. So thank you so much. Which way do I go?
Thank you, Jade. The Unsung Hero Award spotlights an individual or more who have effectively influenced a program or organization from behind the scenes in a positive attitude and a desire to help in whatever capacity necessary and a commitment to excellence. For decades and decades, brothers Ken and Keven Costlow have become known as the ultimate Arlington sports historians. Their research is impeccable, and for years, announcers, writers, and coaches benefited from their facts to be used leading up to whatever sporting event was to be played. Ken wrote for the Arlington Citizen-Journal and the Arlington Daily News, which later became the Arlington Morning News. You could ask him anything. Most yards for a Sam Houston Texan in a district opener. 5 seconds later, Jeff Gudley, 188 yards, 1992. Oh, by the way, he wore a plaid shirt, had a light lunch, and practiced hard that day. Keven worked for the Dallas Morning News and the Arlington Morning News, and in 1986 established the Bible of local sports info called Southwest Sports Research. Coach Chris, I know that you refer to that quite often. He supervised that company for over 35 years. When the Costlows knew facts and figures about out-of-town teams that those opponents didn't know, you knew that no stone was left unturned. Born and raised in Arlington, alums of Sam Houston and proud UTA grads, please welcome Ken and Keven Costlow.
Good evening. If there is such a thing as an accidental tourist, you'd be looking at him right now. For the past 38 years, I have been the unofficial record keeper for Arlington ISD Athletic Department. For the record, unofficial means I don't get paid for it. This is not a job I set out to do, but I've had a lot of fun doing this. I graduated from UTA in 1985 and obtained a job at the Dallas-Fort Worth suburban newspapers. Being the low man on the totem pole, I had to find out missing things that other people didn't know how to look for. Like the very first night of this football season that year, Martin actually won its first game of the season. And people asked me, had that ever happened before? They hadn't at that point. But they've made up for that for the past 30 years very well. When the season was over that year, we began assembling all the data to try and build a record book. It's not easy to do. Along the way, I began to feel an appreciation for all those baseball cards and football cards I had. By 1988, we had enough information to put out our very first record book. And we keep doing this today. I have no idea how much longer we'll do this, but one thing's certain, I'll keep doing it, and I'll keep having fun. Thank you very much.
I keep looking over at the scoreboard clock and thinking, okay, you can start the 3 minutes now. Trust me on this, Keven is no accidental tourist. He has worked hard at this. I've been the witness to all of it, so there's been unbelievable time and effort in doing all of this. First off, I'd like to thank the Arlington Athletics Hall of Honor staff who have done this for us. If you'd have told me 2 years ago when I was laying in a hospital bed with tubes all over me and thinking, you're going to be in this 2 years from now, I would have thought you were crazy. But I do thank you all from that. This is an amazing honor tonight. I'd like to thank my parents, Kenneth and Ann Costlow, my dad for his love of sports and he's impounded on to us, and my mom for all of her support that she's given all of our endeavors all these years. I have spent 40 years in the newspaper business at one point or another. I'd like to thank all the people I've ever worked with and for, including a good friend of mine, Damon Sales over here. He's done a great job and he represents all the people that I've worked with and everything. I spent a number of years with Time Warner Cable Sports Channel as a statistician, and I'd like to thank John Nelson over here. I've known him for more than 40 years, and we've spent lots of time together, and it's been an amazing journey. Bottom of my heart, I want to thank all the coaches and players and teams that are here tonight that I've had the chance to cover. I've had you as subjects in my stories, and now I consider you all very, very close friends. And I want to thank all of you tonight for this. This is an amazing night, and I hope you're having a great time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. The Impact Award is just what it says. It honors coaches and educators who have impacted young people through a lifetime of service. These individuals did the right thing regardless, were fair and firm, displayed honor and loyalty throughout their lives. Our first Impact Award goes to David Clyde. David played a lot of organized sports growing up in Dallas and eventually accepted a basketball scholarship to South Plains Junior College, then went on to Southwestern University where he graduated. His first coaching stint was at Trinity High. Later, he was an assistant at Sam Houston. After Don Lewis left Sam, David became the head coach there and stayed 11 years. Well, a crosstown opportunity arose at Arlington High where the Colts enjoyed playoff success, and in the process, David was named District 4-5A Coach of the Year in 2011. In 2013, David retired from full-time coaching. Not many that played for this coach can't say they didn't learn and enjoy the game. In retirement, David is kept busy by substitute teaching at Bailey Junior High and Arlington High. Please welcome David Clyde.
Thanks. Blame that on Jeff Kemp. He said to keep it brief, so I'm just trying to do my job. In light of the fact that I'm receiving a point for an award for being an impact person, I thought I would try to recognize at least 3 people tonight that have had an impact on me. I don't need to look any farther than table 14 to see the person that's had the greatest impact on my life, and that's my girlfriend of 53 years, Nancy, my wife Nancy. In August, we will celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary. We were boy and girlfriend for 3 years before we got married, and I'm amazed that she has stuck it out as much as lacking of interest in sports, and you would think we were the odd couple for sure, but her dedication and her unconditional love and her support for me has been the primary reason why I'm here tonight in front of you guys. So I really appreciate her. I'd also like to acknowledge a friend of mine who's not here tonight with us, probably more like a brother. This is the guy that brought me to Arlington originally, and without him I truly would not be standing in front of you this evening. That's Don Lewis. Don and I were best friends in high school. We played basketball and baseball together for 3 years. His mom and my mom probably talked on the phone every day. Our families were real close. And in '73, he accepted the head coaching job at Sam Houston and gave me a call and asked me if I would be willing to come be his assistant. I said, sure. And so for 17 years, we were the dynamic duo in Southeast Arlington, and probably had more fun than the law allows, but more than that, he was probably primarily responsible for putting me on the path that was trying to lead me toward being a godly man, and he did that by modeling what it looked like to be a Christian dad, a Christian coach, a Christian parent, a Christian husband, Christian friend. So I owe that all to him, I think, and I just really appreciate his role in my life. Thirdly, I'd just like to thank the Lord for being so gracious and just allowing me to live the life that I've had. He's opened and closed a lot of doors of opportunity for me, and whether I acknowledged or made those directions was kind of on me, but I just appreciate the fact that he causes all things to work together for good for those of us that know and love the Lord, and I appreciate that. Thanks again to the foundation. Thanks to Kenneth Vaughn. Kenneth Vaughn was the one that called me in January to tell me about my selection of this honor, and I had to ask him to repeat what he had said because I was so dumbfounded I couldn't believe what he was telling me, and so it's just now kind of beginning to sink in. But I appreciate Arlington, and just thank you for coming out this evening.
Our second Impact Award recipient is the late Diane Little. Diane grew up in Oklahoma and excelled in basketball and track. She graduated from Texoma High and was an honor roll student and the class valedictorian. At Panhandle State, she met her husband, IC. They then moved to Arlington, where she finished her degree at UTA. Lamar High welcomed DL as a cheerleader sponsor in 1983. 8 years later, her squad qualified for nationals. She later established a tradition of excellence for Martin cheerleading that is still evident today. Her cheer units won first place at the ACA Nationals. At all levels, she coached the girls placed high in a myriad of categories. Like IC in football, Diane had a full plate during the school year. She wore many hats, was a goal setter, a listener, a problem solver, a teacher, and a mother. Unfortunately, Diane Little passed away on April 27th. Accepting her award for Diane tonight is Sarah Spurrier, current teacher at Martin High.
Good evening, my name is Sarah Scoggins Spurrier. I'm here tonight to celebrate the life and legacy of Diane Little. Diane spent her 31-year career as a passionate English teacher and the most impactful cheerleading coach to ever be a part of Arlington ISD. I'm honored to speak on her behalf. Tradition was important to DL. In order to keep the school spirit going, DL emphasized the importance of tradition and living up to a standard that is Martin cheerleading. Diane created the tradition and the standard of excellence. In 2004, my first year as DL's junior varsity coach, she explained to me that at camp and nationals, people, coaches, and other cheerleaders would whisper and sometimes point at us, but not to take it personally, since it was because I was wearing a Martin cheer jacket. I did not fully understand what she was talking about until my first nationals, the National Cheerleading Association competition. Wherever we went, I would hear, "That's Martin, that's the Martin team. That's the reigning champion, Martin. That's the Martin team that everyone tries to beat." There were hundreds of squads, thousands of cheerleaders from around the nation, all recognizing our jackets, our warm-up jackets, the same jackets we wore to games, the traditional uniform, because tradition was the brand that was recognized, and excellence and performance that was respected. That tradition still lasts today with the iconic senior paper doll stunts in the homecoming pep rally. DL's leadership changed how Martin cheerleading program is recognized as an athletic sport, not just a school spirit activity. She would stress to me, we don't just jump around on the sidelines. DL would stress that cheerleaders were athletes and the squads wore a simple uniform design that came the traditional iconic MHS uniform. Signs were made for each sport, not just football. Every year, district swimmers, tennis, basketball, baseball would get their signs because Martin Cheer supported every sport underneath DL's leadership. Often you would find DL on the cafeteria floor painting signs next to her cheerleaders. She demonstrated excellence each day to her squads. Diane is an integral part of Martin High School's story. Her leadership changed how cheerleading program was recognized as an athletic sport, not just a school activity, with her 10 national championships and overseeing a program with 31 overall national champions. DL was instrumental in elevating high school cheerleading as a sport in Texas. She helped new coaches navigate creating new squads from tryouts to the national competitive mat. When DL was nominated for the Impact Award, she told me that she didn't need an award. I told her that I was sure the committee already knew that, but that she deserved to be honored. She smiled and asked me to give her speech, and this was back in February. I didn't know then that I would lose my mentor and my friend so quickly. In closing, I want to share with you some of what her former cheerleaders have said about her. She didn't put up with crap. She expected hard work and perfection, but had a heart of gold. She's always been consistent about reaching out throughout the years, always checking in to see how we were doing and congratulating us on our big life milestones. DL was genuine. She knew when to give you much needed encouragement and when to give you a reality check. She took time to get to know all of us, push us, set rules for us, but also to be fun and a safe place for us. You are my extra parent. Hilarious and passionate, She didn't mess around, and she expected 110% every day. DL touched an infinite amount of young lives. She was a phenomenal leader, mentor, and fiercely competitive. I'm a better person to have honored and honored to have called Diane Little my friend. We love you and miss you deeply. Go fight, win. Go Warriors.
Thank you, Sarah, for coming tonight. The Chris and Becky Carroll Legends Award recognizes individuals who demonstrate the philosophy of true community givers throughout their lives. They seek out opportunities to help the Arlington community financially by supporting civic and nonprofit, giving their time generously, providing excellent and wise counsel, and being role models and mentors to others. Tom Cravens started his life in the city he loves, Arlington, Texas. He learned teamwork early, succeeding on the football field for the Arlington Colts, and gained valuable experience and life lessons from a number of different coaches. His maternal grandfather was James McCoy Carlisle, the founder of Carlisle Military Academy, you know it today as UTA. A noted doctor and state educator also donned the family tree. Tom graduated from the University of Texas, where he met his wife, Diane. In Arlington, they helped establish organizations focused on youth and young women, including Big Brothers, UTA Tri Delta Chapter, Junior Women's Club, and various dance clubs. After a successful banking career, he and 4 others founded Young Men for Arlington. Through the years, he has also chaired many foundations and fundraisers for youth-related organizations in this town. To me, Tom has always been young at heart. In a way, he's still a dream builder. Please welcome the former coach of those Wimbish Warriors, Tom Cravens.
You know, it really doesn't get any better than this. The award is named after Becky and Chris Carroll. They've been some of my mentors, and I've been friends of theirs for many, many years. We're so sorry to have lost Becky. And it's kind of reminiscing that this award really should go to my wife, Diane. When Diane is not with us any longer, she died in August of this last year. But for all the things that we did in Arlington, Diane was always the one that was there in front. She was the one that led. I was the one that worked. She did all the actual work when it was being done. And along with her cohort in all this was Stephanie Austin, and Mike Austin's here tonight with his kids, and Stephanie and Diane were a pair that you couldn't beat. They did everything in the world. So this award really should go to those two, in my opinion. But it's named, this award, the whole evening named after the legends, Tom Vandergriff legends. He was one of my heroes for many, many years. His son and his grandson are sitting right down here. They're still some of my best friends. But Tom Vandergriff grew up next door to me in Arlington. Some of you know that, some of you may not have known that. But when he would comb his hair when he was younger, he'd comb it real back, had black hair. When he had all his hair, he'd comb it way back and had a big flume on his hair, and he was called Tommy Vandergriff back then. He went off to college, and about the time he got into politics, I went to college and I changed my name from Tommy to Tom. So he changed his name to Tom Vandergriff, and now I'm Tom Cravens. And if you call me Tommy, I know you've known me for a very, very long time. And there's a lot of people in this room that call me Tommy, so thank you very much for that. You know, I've got my family here tonight. Carroll, of course, you met him. He was one of the announcers. And then I've got a table over here with my 2 granddaughters, Mary Nell and Eddy Cravens, and their brother Coleman, all graduate, or one graduate of Arlington High School, one graduating this year at Arlington High School, and one be a sophomore next year at Arlington High School. The 2 girls are in the McCoy School at Texas. And for all you Aggies, that's a business school. I want to thank everybody that's here tonight, all my friends that are at these tables, and we had a good time for many years in Arlington. And people say, have you lived here all your life? And I say, not yet. So thank you all for being here, and thank the honor for all these people.
Our Hall of Honor recognizes coaches, teachers, and administrators who have supported the athletic programs here in this city. Our first recipient is Wanda Talton. Maypearl High class valedictorian 1977, summa cum laude at Hill Junior College and a UTA graduate 2 years later. Wanda's teaching career began at Hutchinson Junior High and coached her 9th grade girls basketball team to a city championship. From there, it was on to Sam Houston, where she worked with her good friend and valuable teacher, O.J. Kemp. In 1991, the new Bowie High opened, and needless to say, guess who became the girls' head basketball coach? It all culminated on the court in 2005, as you has witnessed tonight, with the state championship. At Bowie, Wanda earned the school's Teacher of the Year and the AISD Teacher of the Year. In addition to many District Coach of the Year honors, she was named the state's 5A Coach of the Year in 2005. As an assistant coach at Hill College, her team won 3 consecutive conference championships. In 2014, she was inducted into that school's Athletic Hall of Fame. No question that the hard work, dedication, and love of the classroom and the game have reaped many rewards. Coach T.
Good evening. They told me I had 30 minutes. 3 minutes. But how do you squeeze 30 years of thank yous into 3 minutes? First, I want to say thank you to the Arlington Athletics Hall of Honor, to its committee members, and to my family and friends who are here tonight. Congratulations to all the well-deserving honorees who are being recognized. In the words of Maya Angelou, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. I stand here as a proud member of the Hutchinson Junior High faculty. Those 7 years at Hutch made me the educator I am today. Thank you to my Lady Shaps, who let me learn the coaching ropes in basketball, volleyball, and track. My biggest thanks goes to B. Miles Henry for leading the way in Arlington ISD and for showing me how to be a professional. I stand here tonight because of you, B. I stand here as a coach and faculty member of Sam Houston High School. We packed a lot into those 3 years, didn't we, OJ? Our track, cross country, and basketball girls were simply the best. Thank you, OJ, and all my Lady Texans and my Sam Houston co-workers. I stand here as a lifetime member of the Bowie High School faculty and coach of the Lady Vols. Thank you, Gene Richardson, for entrusting me with the program. Thank you to all my student athletes in all sports, and to all of my Lady Vols basketball players over those 20 years. Thank you to every student I have ever taught or may have influenced in some small way. And a special shout out to my 2005 state champion Lady Vols who are here tonight. I stand here with Iva Miller, Brenda Covert, Donna Warner, Doris Grooms, Michelle Trussell, Kelly Carruthers, Kim Wilson, Shaka Massey, and Shalina Magruder. All of these women, my assistant coaches, my friends, worked beside me over the years, and I thank them immensely. And a special thank you to Deb Workman for your friendship and support during so many years at Bowie. To my administrators, coordinators, co-workers, everyone, your enthusiastic support was a major reason for any success that I have had. And last but not least, thank you to my family, my sisters, for always loving me and supporting my teams, for understanding the missed holidays and the family functions and the rushed family dinners. I stand here as a product of Stop 6, Little Tommy Tucker, Dunbar Elementary, Mayfield High School, Hill Junior College, and UT Arlington. I have been a part of many firsts throughout my life and my career, including the first state basketball championship for Arlington ISD. But the number I am most proud of is the number 3. I am the 3rd Talton sibling, little sister to Stephen and Sissy, big sister to David and Barbara. I stand here proudly as the 3rd child of Melvin Ray and Mildred Jean Talton. I'm extremely blessed to stand here as number 3. Thank you so much for this recognition of the 10,000.
How could you not play for her? Our next Hall of Honor inductee is I.C. Little. The Arlington native started coaching in 1975. His successful journey started at Shackelford Junior High, continued to Lamar and Martin High, and eventually becoming the AISD athletic director. When you think of IC, not only football success at Lamar with Eddy, you have to include all the high finishes. He coached in soccer on the JV and varsity level, both boys and girls. After Lamar, IC landed the challenge at Martin and had positive hopes of making the Warriors competitive in the district on the football field. His first playoff team happened in 1994 and later received the Texas Football Coach of the Year. All said and done, IC wants to be known as a man who helped others grow and succeed. He played here, he coached here, and is very appreciative of what the city of Arlington has afforded him. Accepting IC's award tonight, Scott Peach.
I just graduated from Baylor University and was in Marshall, Texas with a buddy of mine. We walked inside the house and there was a phone call for me. I picked up the phone and it was I.C. Little. And he said, "I'd like for you to come work for me, coaching and teaching at Martin High School." That day changed my life. And 26 years later, because of him, I have the opportunity to do what I do in the city of Arlington. The greatest gift that I think I.C. Little has is his fierce loyalty. He offered me that job that day because he was loyal to Eddy Peach. He was loyal to my family. He was loyal to me. And I got an amazing opportunity because of that. There's men in this room, Kenny Perry, Anthony Chris, Kim Peach, Ricky Albus, myself, who were so blessed to be around that loyalty and know how much we meant to him and how much he loved us. The story goes like this. It was 1988. I.C. Little was the defensive coordinator at Lamar High School. It was the playoffs, and they were about to play the great Tommy Maddox. Tommy Maddox played at LD Bell. I see you back there, TJ Dibble. Tommy Maddox would go on to play for 9 seasons for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was one of the best quarterbacks to ever walk through Dallas-Fort Worth in our history. A day before the game, Coach Little decided he needed to make a change. He brought the boys into the gym, changed his defensive strategy, and went to the 3-3 stack. We've heard over the past 10 or 12 years how popular the 3-3 stack has become and how new it is. Well, I.C. Little did it back in 1988, and he made it up within a day right before the game. That Saturday, Lamar Vikings 39, LD Bell 0. The other thing I.C. Little is an unbelievable winner. If you look at his records, I don't know that there's many people in the country, but especially in the city of Arlington, that won like he did. Look at his boys' soccer records at Lamar. Look at his girls' soccer records at Lamar. Looking at his records as defensive coordinator at Lamar and the things he did at Martin. An incredible winner. Finally, what an awesome servant leader. I will tell you, as a coach, teacher, athletic coordinator, and athletic director, he served this community as an amazing leader. When he was athletic director, I would receive a phone call and it would go like this: Mr. Peach, I need you to meet me in my office tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Click. I hated that call because I'd get 3 or 4 of them every year, and he would never tell me what I was coming in for. But it was not to tell me that I was an outstanding leader at Arlington High School. So I would fret all night, waiting to see what surprise he had in store for me for what I've done wrong. Some poor Arlington High coach would always have to come with me. They would sit down next to me in the room. And he would start every meeting to me with this: Coach Peach, would you please remind me who is in charge of the athletic program at Arlington High School? Me, sir. I was wondering because, and then he would rip into me unmercifully for what that poor little coach did not do at Arlington High. For a long time, I couldn't understand it, and now I realize he was teaching me that I was in charge of Arlington High School athletics, that it was my responsibility alone, to make sure that place was great. The other thing he was doing was helping me take ownership for my coaches and teaching me what servanthood looked like. I learned more about being a servant leadership in my role from him, just teaching me those things. The love of his life we just lost, 45 years of IC and Diane Little, so that you know there's a scholarship now in the name of one Martin High School and one Lamar High School senior each year. If you'd like to be a part of that, you can find it online to support them. But what a powerful couple they were, an outstanding relationship of love. Thank you for teaching me how to fish. Thank you for teaching me how to hunt. Thank you for teaching me how to be a man. I love you so much, and you are very deserving of the Hall of Honor. All of us wanted to do this for you that had a chance to play for you. If you'll please stand at this time, Coach I.C. Little.
We continue with the Hall of Honor, Mike Nelson, a 3-year basketball letterman at Sherman High School. He then went on to Austin College and continued with sports including track and field. At Fort Worth Southwest High, his teams won 7 district championships in cross country. The success was there again at Lamar beginning in 1981. The Vikings had 8 regional champions, 3 All-American honorees, and 3 state champions during his career. With Coach Peach at Lamar, Mike coached at least 2 who eventually played in the NFL and very many players in college. A keen eye spotted Jeremy Warner. Fast forward, not too many years later, Jeremy won Olympic championships in the 400-meter dash and the 4x400-meter relay and would go on to win many world titles. Please welcome a multi-talented individual who many learned to have success with his encouragement, Mike Nelson.
What a humbling and exciting evening this has been. In 1981, I was hired by Weldon English and Eddie Peach as the head track coach and head cross country coach and assistant football coach at Arlington Lamar High School. What a great job this was. I loved going to work every day. I loved teaching biology. I loved working for Eddie Peach. He made everyone he came in contact with feel special. And I loved coaching the great student athletes I would come in contact with for the next 20-something years, a lot of them here tonight. If I was successful at Lamar, it was because of these athletes and the many coaches that helped me during my career. I would like to thank Ronnie Lawrence, Joe Batesel, David York, Johnny Lowe, and Gary Bearden for all their help coaching sprinters at Lamar. I would like to thank Bill Riley and Elvin Jones for coaching the shot and discus. We always had great weight men, and it was due to those two coaches. I would like to thank our administrators, Weldon English and Jimmy Jones, for being the best leaders a teacher coach could have. Coaches spend a lot of time away from home, so I would especially like to thank my children, David, Matt, Kristen, and Chris, for always being there to support me and being here tonight. And thanks to Gail, my wife, for being the glue that holds all of this together. And last but not least, to my 12 grandchildren, thanks for always being there with love for me and Gigi, and for all your activities that keep us busy during our retirement. Thanks to the Arlington Athletic Hall of Honor Foundation for this wonderful evening, and to all the coaches, family, friends, and everyone else who came out tonight to honor me and the other inductees. Thank you.
Our next honoree, Bud's teaching and coaching career started at Carter Junior High in 1961. He then moved on to Sam Houston and in 1972 filled the position of principal. He was at that level for 16 years. And in his honor, Bud Remynse Elementary School opened in 2001. He was truly a promoter of Sam Houston's greatness and didn't forget many students, name-wise and their accomplishments. And those Texans felt inside that he knew later of their accomplishments. Great educator and leader. Accepting Bud's award tonight, his son, Todd Remynse.
Good evening. I'm Todd Remynse, Bud's oldest son. I'm honored to speak on his behalf, on behalf of my dad and my family. Anyone who knew my father knew that sports and school spirit were closest to his heart. I remember being a kid and never getting to miss school unless I was really sick. But pep rallies were sacred to my dad. On special occasions, I got to miss half a day, go to Sam Houston, ring the bell, be part of the pep rally. Those were really good times. So, believe me when I say he would be thrilled to be part of all of this. We're very proud of him and take comfort knowing that his memory and legacy live on. I humbly accept this honor on his behalf. Thank you.
We have one more Hall of Honor inductee, Elvin Jones. His offensive line dominated the trenches for years at Lamar. The Oklahoma native never played organized football, but taught and coached that sport when smaller schools only had one coach per team. Stops along the way included Ferguson and Carter Junior High and Arlington High before joining Eddy Peach at Lamar. In addition to his football duties, Elvin taught math, he coached track, and his golf team has won 9 consecutive district titles. From 1970 until 2008, the Viking football team won 9 consecutive district titles. Elvin and his wife Judy now live in Jenks, Oklahoma. Please welcome back Elvin Jones.
Okay, I'd like to thank some people that made it possible for me to be here tonight. Many of you have probably forgotten about him, but Bowie Workman was the gentleman that hired me for my first job in Arlington. And following that hire, I went to junior high, and from there I advanced to Arlington High School, where I coached with John Riddell, and that's where I started coaching with Eddy Peach. Eddy Peach and I became real good friends for 50 years. We were roommates for several years before either one of us ever got married, and so therefore we did lots of talking about football, especially when we went to Lamar High School. I'd like to thank Sam Curley. He was the principal at Lamar High School at that time. And I'd like to thank Belden English and Jimmy Jones. They were my principals while I was there. They were all excellent. And if it hadn't been for such a fine system, which was run very smoothly, I probably wouldn't have stayed there for the rest of my coaching career. But it was a great situation to coach under. I had a great student body. I'd like to thank all those athletes that are here tonight that happened to play with us. I'd like to thank you because good athletes make good coaches. And I'd like to thank my wife Judy for putting up with me all those years. She and I will celebrate our 50th wedding anniversary also this year. I also was fortunate enough to have two children, Jason Jones and Jacqueline Jones. I did get to coach my son, Jason. He was a center for us, and I enjoyed that very much. My daughter, Jacqueline, she was a soccer player, so I didn't get to coach her. None of this would have been possible except for our Father in heaven. And He made it possible for me to be here, and I thank Him for that opportunity. Thank you very much.
The Hall of Fame acknowledges athletes whose success in the athletic arena have brought credit to Arlington. From the 1950s, our first inductee is Grover Cribbs. The Arlington native grew up on the north side and was the heart and captain of the 1951 state champion Arlington Colts. Number 75 would be named All-State as a guard and showed character and leadership the entire season. Being the younger brother of James Cribbs, who was in the military and studying law, and the son of Police Chief Ott Cribbs, Grover knew his responsibilities. After post-graduation visits to Baylor, Texas, and TCU, he accepted a scholarship to nearby TCU, but was undecided about a college career. He decided he wanted to be a flyer and enlisted in the Navy Aviator Training Program. On October 22, 1956, he flew the Navy's new Skyway carrier. On the final approach to the airfield at Miramar, he crashed and was killed. Buried in Shannon Hill Road Cemetery to Fort Worth, Cribbs was barely 21 when he came home. Gone too soon, Grover Cribbs was admired by many and still is to this day.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good time tonight. My family's been part of Arlington since I think we figured out sometime in the late 1800s. And we really care about the city and what it's all been through and where it goes and what happens. They gave us 3 minutes. I put together a speech, and everybody's pretty much covered it, so I'm going to be real short. Actually, my dad was James Cribbs. Grover was my uncle. And he did pass away at the age of 21 in pilot training out at Miramar. And we're really, the Arlington High football team has an award for him every year named after him, the Offensive Lineman of the Year Award. So we're really honored to have him inducted into this Hall of Honor. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
From the 1960s, our next honoree is Guy Morris. What an outstanding high school career at Sam Houston as a lineman and tight end. At TCU, the 3-year letterman earned all Southwest Conference honors as an offensive guard. After graduating from TCU, Morris became the second-round selection by the Philadelphia Eagles in the 1973 draft. Guy started 14 out of 15 years in the NFL, playing center for the Eagles for 10 and for the New England Patriots for 4 more. Guy Morris played in 217 regular season games, including Super Bowl 15 with the Eagles and Super Bowl 20 with the Pats. He wasn't finished. Guy later became the head coach at the University of Kentucky and later at Baylor University. He finished his coaching career at Texas A&M Commerce in 2012. Sadly, Guy Morris passed away on September 5th at the age of 71. Here tonight to accept Guy's award, Hal Mummy.
Good evening. I'm humbled to be here. Actually, Guy's brother Vic was supposed to be here, and he's got to go to the hospital tomorrow. So, yeah, if y'all would keep him in your prayers, I'd appreciate it. He's a dear old friend who was my roommate when I was at UTA, and I've always appreciated him getting me introduced and involved with his brother Guy. And Guy's family is here, a lot of them, and I just want y'all to know, of all the coaches I've been with, he had as big a heart as any of them, or probably bigger. And I'll tell you one real quick story, because I only got about 2 minutes left now. The Guy and I first coached together in a little unknown league called the Professional Spring Football League. And he was the head coach, and he hired me to be the offensive coordinator, and he hired Rob Ryan to be the defensive coordinator. Guy had a good eye for talent in coaches and horses. So he hires us, and we go down there for a whole month in 1991 in DeLand, Florida, and we have all a training camp. And then we get to the end of training camp, and Rob and I go to see him and said, hey, we haven't been paid yet. Have you been paid? And he goes, yeah, I got paid. I said, well, they called me at Valdosta State. I think I'm going to go interview there because I don't think Georgia's going to run out of money, and this league might. And I said, do you want me to save you a spot? And he goes, yeah, give me a week. So I called him. I took the job, and I called him a week later. And he goes, yeah, I'm getting these guys out of here trying to get them all home. We had like 50 kids in the hotel in DeLand, Florida. And Guy Morris gave his last $20 bill that he had to a kid so he could buy bus fare home from that place. And then he got in his truck and he drove up to Valdosta. And I met him out there and I said, well, I got a dorm room for you and I got some cash. So we put him on the road recruiting, and he became a great football coach in college from there. And I was proud to be associated with him. In 1997 at University of Kentucky, we beat Alabama for the first time in 75 years. And Guy Morris's offensive line that night was a huge contributor to that. Nobody could control a room better than Guy Morris. And I've always appreciated that about him, and I'm honored to be here to accept this award for him. And I know he would want to say this, that he's proud of his family. He's proud of all the teams he was involved with, from the NFL down to Sam Houston High School. And he was always, always proud of Arlington. So thank you to the Arlington Hall of Fame for inducting him. I appreciate the honor of accepting for him.
We move to the 1980s. Our next Hall of Fame inductee is Jamaal Brown. Number 30 at Sam Houston was as good a basketball player that this city has ever had. As a junior, he led the district in scoring, and as a trackster, went on to the regionals in the 200-meter hurdles. His senior year at Sam, he averaged 30 points a game and was the District 7-5A MVP. That year, he was also selected All-State in basketball and track. At Ohio State, Jamaal helped lead the Buckeyes to 2 Big Ten titles and later a spot in the Elite Eight. Brown continued to play internationally and would later coach that sport to the youth. 14 years ago, Jamaal created Slam Fest Basketball. This is an annual fundraising tournament that brings students and Sam alums together to benefit elementary kids. Unexpectedly, Jamaal Brown passed away this past November. Tonight, accepting for Jamaal, his brother, Reggie Brown.
I know 6 months ago, I know God did receive an angel. I know that. When something happens unexpectedly, it's of a heart attack, it's hard. But I know my brother would be really proud to know you guys thought about him in this way. You know, as his younger brother, growing up in Arlington in the 80s, as he said, it was like Michael Jordan and Jamaal Brown. And back in the day in the 80s, you know, there wasn't social media, you know, the cell phones. It was like you had to go to the games to see that great talent. And I mean, kids used to get up there early just to see, you know, my brother in the layup lines, you know, because that's what it was all about, those layup lines back then. The guys in the hallway doing little Sam Houston chats. You know, it was great. And I feel like, you know, with me and my sister, you know, he was the first. You know, he inspired us. You know, he was our mentor, still is our mentor, our hero. It was crazy when I received this phone call about my brother being inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was actually at his son's game. And that day, you know, my brother wore number 30. His son scored 30 that night. But what's crazy was it was a voice message and said, "Hey, Reggie, you know, we got some news to let you know, some real exciting news about the Arlington Hall of Fame." I was like, dang, I made it. You know, I was like, finally, you know, it ain't about Jamaal's little brother no more, it's about Reggie, you know. But when I called the guy back, he was like, it's about Jamaal. I'm like, okay, you know. Tried to, you know, act like I was, you know, still happy, but you know, I was a little bit hurt. But I know if my brother was here, you know, he'd definitely, you know, give thanks to his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. He'd definitely thank, you know, my mom, our mom, for pushing him academically, our dad, pushing him athletically, and I know Coach Clyde, you guys had to deal with Otis a lot, so we appreciate you guys putting up with my dad all these years. This is, you know, this month of May has been pretty tough. You know, my brother's birthday was May 9th. He had his baby son just had a baby May 22nd, and then of course today is May 25th, so hopefully moving forward, you know, May will be a great month for us. You know, right now it's a little bit tough, but, you know, we're getting through it. But we definitely appreciate, you know, everybody here, his friends from Ohio State. I see some of his Buckeyes out here, his high school teammates for allowing him to shine, you know, and play his game. But I know it's probably kind of tough because I'm pretty sure, you know, you guys wanted more shots, but I know, you know, Coach Clyde and Coach Lewis just have to run the ball through him, so I appreciate you guys allowing my brother to be him. And, you know, we're just excited to be a part of this. And I'm glad my sister's up here with me because, like I said, you know, she keeps reminding me we're a unit. My brother's still here with us, and he's going to always be here with us. And we just appreciate all you guys here for all your support and all your love. This means so much to us and our family. Thank you.
Reggie Brown, pretty good basketball player himself. Number 5 at UTA, bringing it up court at the stage at Texas Hall. We continue from the 80s, our next inductee, Todd Van Poppel. At Martin High, Todd dominated like no other pitcher in the state. In 3 years, he had a record of 25-7 with 298 strikeouts. At one time, he was clocked at 96. I heard 98, and was named the National Gatorade Player of the Year. In the classroom, Todd had a perfect 4.0 GPA. The Oakland A's made Todd their choice in the first round of the 1990 draft, which included a healthy signing bonus. Upper Deck also released their rookie card set highlighting Van Poppel. The right-hander played 13 years in the bigs, with Cincinnati being the final stop. Through the years, Todd respected the game and the fans enjoyed his mound efforts. Here to accept Todd's award, his pitching coach at Martin High, Ernie Valamides.
Well, good evening, everyone. Todd is not able to be here. Obviously, you know that. He has a family commitment. Let me tell you what kind of a young man Todd Van Poppel is. Okay, when we reconnected and he called me a few weeks ago and asked me to accept this honor because he had a family commitment, he then told me what that was. And that was that his youngest child is going to be a star football player at the University of Nebraska. He signed as a junior last year. and he's a heck of a football player and a heck of a young man. And there was a requirement for them to get into the dorm with all the other football teammates, and he's moving his son in, and that's where he's at this evening, okay? And one of the other things he said was that, Coach, for 15 years, I missed so much. The kids grew up, I'd go to spring training, we'd start the season, and they'd be crawling around. The first one would be crawling around, and then the next time I would see them, they would be walking. And he missed that. And so he's committed the last 6 or 7 years to being the best dad that he possibly can be. Okay, he's been a member of the booster club there at Argyle High School where his kids have gone through. And he's, I'm going to share some of the great things that he did as far as a baseball player, but even more importantly is the man that he's turned out to be and the father that he's been and the impact he's made on his children. When he committed to University of Nebraska, one of the first things Todd said was, and there were about 5 or 6 schools that offered the exact same thing to him on the scholarship package. And he said, you're going to call every one of those coaches, and you're going to tell them that you appreciate the offer, instead of just like some others possibly will just make a commitment and make an announcement on where they're going to be going to school. So that's the kind of a father he's tried to instill on all 3 of his children, and it's an honor for me to be here this evening to accept the award for him. Todd is an excellent choice. We thank the Arlington Athletic Hall of Fame for this induction. When I reflect back on Todd as a player at Martin High School and also playing in professional minor leagues and also in the major leagues, a few things come to my mind. He was a great team player. Team came first, not individual. And boy, did he have opportunities to be an individual with all the stardom that came his way later on. And the team and his teammates were so important and number one in what Todd was all about. He was an amazing, driven athlete. He was extremely talented. That 96-mile-an-hour fastball sometimes was 97 and close to 98, John, but that was close. But he worked real hard at it. It didn't just come naturally. And so with that combination, it was outstanding for him, okay, and he had a lot of success. He was extremely competitive. When he got the ball on the mound, it was his game, and he was going to start it, and he was going to finish it, and failure was not an option. So he was extremely competitive. He was modest and humble. He'd never wanted the spotlight on himself. Those that knew Todd, know Todd, coaches, friends, will say that the first thing would be he would want to talk about his teammates. And that would be the first thing he would talk about and minimize the attention to himself. Todd wanted me to tell everyone that he's very appreciative of this induction into the Hall of Fame. He also shared with me that he feels very fortunate to have had great teammates at Martin High School and also values the years that he was in the ISD schools throughout before he even got to the high school. Looking back, Coach King and I knew Todd had such a bright future ahead in baseball. We will always remember his senior year primarily. It started with his junior year, but his senior year when all of the college coaches and major league scouts and everyone just bombarded our baseball field, practices, the first practice of the season at the beginning of February. There was the University of Texas coach, the University of Miami coach, and they're there. So we had to be real careful. Coach King knows exactly what we're talking about on that, but he was so poised and kept himself together throughout all of that, and it was just amazing what he went through at such a young age to keep everything in perspective. Here are a few of Todd's. John may have mentioned a couple of them, but forgive me if I repeat some of these accomplishments. In his senior year, he was 11-3, and he had a 0.97 ERA and 170 strikeouts in one season. Those of you that keep up with high school baseball, you know how many games they play? And 170 strikeouts in a baseball season is a lot of strikeouts. It averaged about 13 strikeouts a game every time he went on the mound. Todd was drafted in the first round by the Oakland A's. It was their 14th pick. They had 2 number 1 picks that year, and they took a chance because his goal, he had 2 goals, to go to the University of Texas and play baseball, and also to be on the Olympic team. So things changed when Oakland took a chance and picked him. They had 2 number 1 picks, and they flew him and his parents up to Oakland. He met with Tony La Russa and Billy Bean, and the next thing we know, he's getting ready to go to the minor leagues. He's getting ready to go to he's signing with the Oakland A's. Just an interesting story. This is what I was talking about earlier about his teammates coming first. He had already committed to play on a select baseball team before the draft with the Dallas Mustangs back then. Okay, I don't even know if they're even in existence now. But it was a really highly competitive, and they had an excellent coach. And so he asked the Oakland A's, is it okay if I wait until the middle of July to start playing? And they said, no, we really need for you to start like next week, okay? This is like the middle of June to start. So they upped his bonus, another $100,000, and back then it was a lot of money in 1990. So, but anyway, that's the kind of young man he was. He wanted to play with his teammates first. John said what an honor it was in 1990, that senior year, to be the Gatorade Circle of Champion National High School Baseball Player of the Year. Can you imagine all of the great high school players in the United States, and he was the number 1 National Gatorade honoree. That's quite an honor. He pitched for 15 years in the major leagues. He played for the Oakland A's, the Detroit Tigers, the Texas Rangers in 2 stints. 2 times he was with the Rangers, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Chicago Cubs, and finally the Cincinnati Reds. I want to thank Coach Jeff Kemp, all the members of the selection committee, for honoring Todd with this special honor. I know Todd and his family appreciate this well-deserving honor. Thank you so much for doing this for Todd. And I'm taking pictures. My wife hopefully is videotaping this while doing this, and we're going to send it to him as soon as possible, and we'll have him in our thoughts. Okay, so thank y'all so very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Our final Hall of Fame inductee is from the 2000s. She's Randi Miller. The California native found her way to Arlington wrestling at Martin High. Randi began competing at the senior level in 2004. 2 years later, she wins gold at the Pan American Championships. Fast forward 2008, Randi is named the U.S. Female Wrestler of the Year and the U.S. Open Senior National Champion. Beijing, China, 2008 Olympics. Randi stuns the competition by winning bronze. She's not done yet. Randi served in the U.S. Army National Guard in their athletic program, which is designed to allow top-ranked soldier athletes to perform at the international level while serving this country. 2 years ago, she made history by becoming the first women's wrestling coach at Texas Women's University. From inside the ropes to the stage, welcome Randi Miller.
Hello, everyone. I'm honored to be here tonight. Being an athlete is and has always been a big part of my life. My wrestling journey started here in Arlington shortly after my dreams of being a basketball star came to a crashing halt. 14-year-old me didn't realize that maybe a 5'1" individual would not end up in the WNBA. A little disappointed, but it put me on my track and then led me to wrestling. Wrestling came to me in my life when I needed it most. Like most of us, high school was very awkward for me. I struggled with my self-esteem, purpose, and direction. And anyone who's ever been a part of wrestling will tell you it's difficult, it's grueling, and it's challenging. And for me, it was no different. Wrestling pushed me mentally and physically further than I knew I was capable of. My ability to get through practices and compete as an individual started to change how I viewed myself. This transformation gave me the confidence to believe myself and set my own path. In return, I've been able to travel the world, meet some of my best friends. They showed up for me tonight. They're at table 7. And receive some of the highest honors an athlete can receive. It's truly been a career that proves to me that famous quote, when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. I'm forever grateful for Martin High School, Arlington Sports, the advocates for women's sports and women's wrestling who created an opportunity way back then for me to wrestle. Little known fact, states are just now sanctioning women's wrestling as a high school sport, and that's something Arlington did 20 years ago. Again, thank you for this opportunity, the leadership when I needed it, and most of all, thank you for this honor.
The Mayfield Workman Award is named after the longtime coach at Arlington High who led that team to the 1951 state championship. He later became the first athletic director of the AISD. This year's Mayfield Workman Male Athlete of the Year at Sam Houston, participating in football, basketball, and track, Daniel Adenugba.
Everybody looks wonderful tonight. God is good. I didn't plan on talking tonight, so y'all might can tell I'm very nervous. I want to thank all my coaches, Coach James, Coach Ward, Coach Johnson. I want to thank my mom. She's at table 34. Mom, you're my best friend. I do everything for you. You made me the man I am today, and I want to continue to do that. The Bible says God works for the good of those who love him, so I'm going to continue to love him, and I thank everybody for this award. Thank you.
The Joni McCoy Female Athlete of the Year is in honor of the late Joni McCoy, who led Martin High to the state championship in volleyball in 1996. Overall, Joni's teams amassed over 600 wins and 4 state championship appearances. This year's winner is from Lamar, where she played soccer, track, cross country, and football. She is Isabella Mickelson. The Eddy Peach AISD Coach of the Year is in honor of Eddy Peach, who is the winningest football coach in this city's history. 310 wins over 39 years. He was respected by all who played for him and by those who coached against him. This year's Eddy Peach AISD Coach of the Year, the head cross country and track coach and the assistant football coach from Bowie High, Sammy Epps. The co-top academic athletes of the year. From Bowie, D'Angelo Ponder, and from Arlington High, Molly Ruby. The AISD Assistant Coach of the Year, Assistant Football Coach, Assistant Basketball Coach at Martin, Brady Cagle. The AISD High School Transformational Coach of the Year, Head Boys and Girls Wrestling Coach at Seguin, Charles Bryant. The AISD Athletic Trainer of the Year for Martin, Janae Booty. The AISD Junior High Male Coach of the Year, cross country, soccer, football, track from Workman, Mandel Dixon. The AISD Junior High Female Coach of the Year, soccer, track, volleyball from Bailey, Courtney McKinney. The AISD Junior High Transformational Coach of the Year, basketball, track, volleyball from Shackelford, Keisha Johnson. The AISD Administrator of the Year, the Principal at Seguin, Billy Linson. We want to recognize the UIL 6A State Champion Boys Wrestling at 126 pounds from Martin, Sean Reinkars. UIL State 6A Champion Boys Wrestling at 157 pounds, Julius Alfaro, also from Martin. UIL 6A State Champion Girls Wrestling, 132 pounds, Shania Dunnigan from Martin. UIL 6A State Champion Boys Wrestling, 113 pounds, Isaac Aravallo from Martin High. Please welcome Scott Peach as he has some special scholarships to give out.
When my father passed away 5 years ago, we wanted to do something to leave a legacy in our family. I got together with my mother, Debbie Peach, my brother, Sean. I'm so grateful to my wife, who has spearheaded this, Kim Peach, and so many of the community that has given back money to allow this to happen. We are going to give away tonight 6 $1,000 scholarships to the best of the best in the city of Arlington, representing all of our schools in Arlington for our high school students. These kids will receive $1,000 in the name of collegiate scholarships, and I would like to name them and talk a little bit about them at this time. First of all, coming to the stage from Martin High School, Alessandra Bastidas. Martin High School's Ali Bastidas discovered the value of showing emotional resilience after winning or losing through her playing soccer. She achieved 8-6A's first team All-District honors in her 2 years on the Martin soccer team from 2001 to 2022. Demonstrating her college-level achievement as a high school student, Ali earned the title of Academic Advanced Placement Scholar in 2022. She met the requirements for the National Merit Scholarship. The Arlington Board of Trustees presented her with the Arlington ISD Wall of Fame. She wants to continue pursuing her passion for sports at an NCAA Division I college. She has her sights set on achieving a doctorate in pharmacology. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali Bastidas. From Arlington High School, Eddy Cravens. Eddy Cravens built her self-assurance and leadership abilities over 4 years because of her hours of practice, cheerleading competitions, community involvement, various clinics, and her support of multiple sports at Arlington High School. Selected as captain of the cheerleading squad as a senior, she also participates in Key Club, National Honor Society, and their teen gathering. She obtained the Cinderella Ball's 2021 Catherine Lotzenheimer Merit Scholarship and a Field Award nomination. With high grades, she ranks number 3 in her class. She wishes to gain her undergraduate degree from McCoy's Business School at UT Austin and attend law school to impact the lives of women and children in need. Ladies and gentlemen, Eddy Cravens. From Lamar High School, Colleen Gladback. Colleen played softball and learned to step up daily for herself and her teammates during struggles. As a 3-year softball letterman, she received 8-6A Academic All-District in 21 and 22, 8-6 All-District Honorable Mention in 21 and 22, Lahar High School Student Athlete of the Year, and AISD Outstanding Senior in the top 2% of her class. Colleen served as a historian of the National Honor Society and handled a full advanced placement curriculum. She completed her Girl Scout Gold Award in 2017, received recognition for writing an animal essay for the City of Arlington. She plans to work in zoology to help mistreated animals to trust again. Colleen Gladblack. From Seguin High School, Diesel Gordon. With his top grades, an intense dedication to sports, and the lesson he learned during the setbacks of COVID, Diesel Gordon has worked hard to achieve his future goals in football. Voted team captain his senior year for the Seguin Cougars, Diesel received 8-5A first team all-district honors for defensive back, 8-5A first team all-district for wide receiver, 8-5A second team all-district for special teams, and 2023 team defensive MVP. The National Alliance of African American Athletes awarded him the Franklin Watkins Memorial Award, which seniors highly covet for their academic excellence, athletic performance, and commitment to community service. He received a scholarship to the Washington University, where he already is. Receiving the scholarship tonight for him is his mother. Let's give it up for Diesel Gordon. Arlington High School's varsity captain, Brett Helsher, says golf has strengthened his high moral character, exceptional teamwork skills, and relentless determination. As a 3-year letterman for golf from 2020 to 23, here in the 2023 District 8-6A third place individual award, All District 8-6A first team award for 2023 and 21, All District 8-6A second team for 2022, and UIL Regional 1-6A qualifier in golf in 21 and 23. He received the Texas Rangers Richard Green Senior Scholarship for 2022 and 23, accepted to the U.S. Air Force Academy and the U.S. Naval Academy. He will attend the U.S. Air Force Academy, where he wants to become a pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, Brett Helsher. And our final winner tonight from Seguin High School, Talasia Sims. As a busy student at Seguin High School, Talasia Sims found the sport of wrestling as a 4-year letterman, where she learned nutrition, self-discipline, and perseverance. She placed second in district her freshman year and second, third, and fifth her sophomore year. She placed in district, regionals, and state her junior year. She received basketball academic All-American her sophomore year, Avid Student of the Month her junior year, and Star Telegram Wrestler of the Week in 2022. She co-founded the Youth Leader of Christian Youth Ministry. She plans to participate in the educational system as a mentor and coach to future athletes willing to listen and grow together. Our final winner this evening, Talasia Sims. I refuse tonight to put on my readers in front of everybody, but Mom, based on this print right here, I did a great job of getting through that. So bigger print next year, please. The man of the hour, so grateful that he brought this to Arlington. What an amazing thing he has done for so many of us to award our great city and our athletes. Let's give it up for Jeff Kemp.
Last year we were just getting warmed up at this time, so those of you that are here can appreciate the fact that we're going to be getting out of here before 8:30. Thank you for your patience. Have a few more people and groups to recognize, and then we'll be out of here. Thank you, but again, you never apologize when you're honoring this many great athletes and past and present. So what I'd like to do right now is recognize our hardworking, I call them the Elite 11, 11 of our committee members with the Hall of Honor that I couldn't let you leave without you knowing who they were. First of all, Jim Pointer, if y'all would come stand up at the front. Jim Pointer, Kenneth Vaughn, Zane Gober, Jenny Ryan, Kevin White, Tracy Winkles, Jeff Waldrop, John Nelson, Jim Pointer, Ricardo Gomez, Debbie Peach, and Kim, we're going to ask you to come down here and join us too, because you worked so hard of helping us put this together. Kim Peach. Please look at your programs and appreciate all the time, love, and attention that went into your programs, because Debbie Peach proofread every single thing that goes into those programs. She spends so many hours, so much time. She's just one of those that's just an angel to our foundation, and I'm so thankful to have her be a part of what we do. The next group I want to recognize at your seats, if you would. If you are a former coach or a present coach, please stand up at this time. former or present coach. Stand up, please. You know, we've been hearing all night about the impact these coaches make in our young people's lives, and it's being one of you, keep doing what you're doing. Keep making a difference, one athlete at a time. I know Mary Williams is in our audience tonight. Mary Williams, if you'd stand up. Thank you. Again, to put something like this on every year, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm the guy, I'm the heavy, I'm the guy that's gonna be asking to pass the plate around. It costs $35,000 to put this event on. Everything you see, from where you walked in to where you are now, the food, everything's $35,000. All we ask is if you have any extra money that you would like to donate, we have in our program, there's a QR code. Even I can work this QR code. You point your camera at it, it pulls up our foundation, and you can donate monthly, yearly, biannually, but it's so easy to do, and please take the time to do that. Like I said, that's the only time you're going to hear us say anything about money, and we've intentionally done that. We want you to come have a good time, but at the same time, know that it costs to put an event like this on, and we would love if you have extra. I know Kenny Perry left, so I can say this. Kenny Perry, it'd be one appetizer less a month for Kenny Perry to donate $50 a month. So I like to look at it in those kind of terms. Please tell him I said that too, Keven. So again, as we're closing, I've got Kenneth Vaughn that's going to come up and help close and lead our benediction. Thank you for coming tonight.
As I look around the room and I see different people, one word describes, I think, part of the greatness of this evening is relationships. There's some tremendous relationships in this room, and hold on to those and grow them. I was blessed 64 years ago in a couple of months to be born and to have a sister by the name of Elaine Vaughn Maddox. Elaine has served the Dallas Fire Department for 42 years. She was the Fireman's Auxiliary for most of that time. The last 13 years she has spent as a chaplain. Elaine is a product of, there's a couple of people in this room will know where this school was at. Gene Richardson, Johnson Station. Gene Richardson was our music teacher. Carter Junior High, and then a 1973 grad of Sam Houston. She went on to Dallas Baptist, 4 years there, and graduated in 1977. She is I think there's about 10 of her. I came to realize early on when she volunteered for the auxiliary that if you went in anywhere with her and her husband Steve's out there, that if you went anywhere with them, you went in your own car, because chances are if she would get called and she's gone and you're stranded. I got stranded in Waco at a wedding one night, and I had to get a ride back with a cousin. But she is retiring. She retired, I think your last day was May 9th? May 9th. And one of the relationships that we developed here, if you see this young man standing to the right here, it's Harrell Hicks. Some of y'all remember Harrell? I think 5 years ago, was it 5 years ago you were inducted as an unsung hero? Harrell is a graduate of Lamar High School, Dallas fireman, as you can see. And Harrell had a need. He's battled cancer for a lot of years now. Praise God, you're in remission and doing so well. But we were talking one night at one of our meetings, and Jim Pointer knows Harrell very well. And Jim was talking about Harrell, and then I figured out my sister knows Harrell. And so we were able to form a partnership with the Dallas Fire Department. Harrell had a lot of trips to MD Anderson, a lot of expenses, and we were able to raise, through gifts of folks here, about $20,000. But getting back to my sister, and I'm going to wrap this up. When the word got out that she was retiring, I went to the Facebook post and just saw everything all the people said about her. And she set the bar high. She set the bar high. And I think one gentleman there described it the best, one of the Dallas firefighters. It's a picture of Elaine. If you look up there, there's a picture of her in her element over there in a scene, a fire scene, and then here leading a service. I think he said it best. He said, "There is only one way to describe Elaine Maddox. She's a whole lot of Jesus. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control." And she reflects all of those. Elaine, thank you for the last 5 years. You have closed it out. And I know this is a surprise to you tonight. You didn't know Harrell was going to be up here with us. But we really appreciate all that you've done for us and how you've served not only the Dallas firefighters, but firefighters from across this nation. You're a blessing to many.
Before I say the prayer, I'd just like to say something. Kenneth and I were brought up from birth to attend sports and athletic events, and my husband will tell you that any day I'll choose sports over shopping. But I just thank you for just the impact that Arlington's had. My mom would wrap me up in a blanket. We'd go watch Arlington High School when there was only one high school in Arlington. So thank you to all of you. It's a blessing to have been here and just see the accomplishments of all of you and your contributions to young men and women. So thank you, Kenneth and Harrell. Anyway, if you'll bow your head, please. We thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to honor heroes often on the playing field. And we thank you for those who are here tonight who helped them succeed. Coaches, players, parents, and friends. Through athletics and competition, we've learned to be a good sport in life. How to clap, how to cheer someone on when they are injured, when they are down. How to be a good sport, just as we were before and after the game. We've learned how to extend a hand to encourage someone, just as we did our fellow players, as we presented a hand to reach back and help them up. Thank you that we learned how to compete, to work hard, to achieve our goals in life. Sports are a wonderful training ground for the challenges of life. And we thank you that through athletics, we learned so much about life, and we learned so much about people. We learned so much about you. Tonight, as we leave, may we take these memories of tonight and the life lessons with us. Thank you for the members of the Arlington Athletics Hall of Honor Foundation who have worked tirelessly to make this a memorable night. You've touched our lives. For it's in your name we pray. Amen.